Hi, welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. Tonight is actually a blending of two of my series, the Gay World of Narcissism, mixed in with the Narcissist bag of dirty tricks. I've revised it for this particular episode. So one thing I'd never experienced before until a few years ago, I figured I would share because it shows you exactly how low these cluster B people will actually go. I mean, it's beyond hateful. It's beyond cruel. And again, assuming you have a sense of empathy and remorse and compassion for others that deserve it, this was tough to take, but I experienced it and figured I'd share here because it is sick. So let's just talk about regular human beings. Normal, which means non-disordered human beings. If we see something that's sad, we react accordingly. If we hear something that's horrible, we relate. Well, these cluster B creatures seem to study us and know this about us. Well, I'm here to share a disgusting example of how these monsters will actually basically abuse us, because it's covert, but it's abuse nonetheless. And what I'm referring to is subjects that regular, normal humans that are not cluster bead or disordered or manipulative or evil, we hold certain subjects to be considered to be like sacred or controversial or sensitive or taboo. Well, these cluster B monsters seem to have picked up on this, and they try to use it within their craft when they're trying to scam you for whatever it is they're after. So the particular example I have involves a sensitive subject of rape. Now, if somebody comes to you and says, I was raped, well, normally the regular reaction of a non-disordered, clustered, whatever B person would be, oh, you were? Oh, well, what can we do? That's the basis of this one. Well, the story goes back to I was working in this business where I'd been there for at least 20 years, and then this new person started working there, and I noticed him and was kind of like interested. Just some kind of magnetic charge was like making me look. And I was wondering, what's he like? Who is he? What is he? Is he this? Is he that? But I didn't really like push it. If I saw him close up, I'd be like, so do you like your job? Your new job? But nothing else. Well, that's the one that I ended up hanging out with and agreed to meet at some local nightclub on a weekday. And we went into the nightclub, and I had some other friends, co-workers that also worked in our business, in our company, and it was kind of like a normal talk. We're all a bunch of fags, which again I've learned doesn't matter whether it's fags or straights or whatever, because cluster B is universal. So this is just the version that I went through, but you probably went through the same thing with a lady or a different orientation, so I don't care about that crap anymore. But anyway, we met up with some other people that worked there, and we were having like the normal small talk chat stuff in the bar, and so I was like, oh, so how do you like working here? So do you know this person? Do you know that person? And I was going through a list of names. Well, of course, they involved the gay names, and I was just casually listing people's names because, again, it's a big company with a bunch of different people. But I was having the small talk, and I mentioned, oh, do you know so-and-so? Which we won't mention names, but the response he gave was, oh, I know who he is, but I don't know him. Beware of those words. But anyway, I thought, okay, and didn't care. I just figured, oh, okay. Well, then the evening progressed. Everything went on as scheduled. Well, like the next week, I was seen talking to this new employee, and another person I know came up to me and said, hey, I noticed that you're talking to that new person. Well, I just thought you should know. You better be careful, because I understand he's been involved with somebody, which is the one that I asked him about, because it was basically a very feminine, like query type person, which is a stereotype, and lots of gays think that's disgusting because they feel like, hey, I'm a guy and I like guys. I don't want no guy who looks like a lady. But there was this one feminine guy who looked like a lady and wore like flared out pants like a dress and wigs and all kinds of stuff like the NARCOPATH does, that witch that I locked up in the basement. But anyway, the point was that I had specifically asked, oh, do you know this one? And I was told, I don't know it, but I know who it is. So here, the next week, a colleague of mine was telling me, from what I understand, that new person you've been talking to is involved with the feminine one. And of course, that sent me into immediate cognitive dissonance, because when I asked, do you know this person? I really didn't care like it mattered. It was just like kind of like small talk, but I was told specifically no. And then here I'm hearing they're involved in some way, so I'm like, something's got to be wrong. But that's how it worked at the first. So the source I was talking to was very reliable. There was no reason to think that the source was making this up. Plus, the source did not know about my conversation previously, so I was just like in cognitive dissonance land, thinking, okay, he told me he didn't know it, but now I'm hearing this, and da-da-da. So I took a break. I went on a break, and that person just happened to be coming out of the break room. And as it passed, I said, hey, why didn't you tell me about your romance with blank? And he looked at me and said, I never kiss and tell. And then walked off. And I thought, wait a minute. Because I have a logical brain. I use logic and reasoning. And I said, stop. Wait a second. I asked you specifically this past weekend if you knew this person, and you said no, and now you're telling me you don't kiss and tell? What's the deal? Which is a normal question. Well, here we go with the lesson we're discussing tonight. He started to switch. He shape-shifted, switched characters, and all of a sudden was like, why? What did he say? What did he say? I hear he likes to cause problems. What did he say to you? I'm going to go to HR. I'm going to do that. And with my psychology/communication skill lessons, I was looking at this retarded excuse of a person and thinking, huh? And I said, you know what? According to my classes, that performance you just did indicates something's up. Because normal, meaning non-abusive people, do not act like that. So I'm like, you're hiding something. Because people don't act that way unless they're hiding something. So the person told me, oh no, I just know he likes to cause problems. And I thought, okay, whatever. So I'd had it. At this point, it's like, you know what, because I had just gotten out of that 11-year fiasco thing. So I'm like, you know what, I can do without people like you, so never mind. But a day or so later, he came to me saying, oh, if you'll let me come over on Wednesday, I'll tell you what happened with that person. Because clearly, he claimed he didn't know the person, but then you hear the other story, then he claims he doesn't kiss and tell, and you're like, what is this? Well, here's where we come to the sick lesson and the dirty bag of tricks. Basically, the cluster B blank face will, well, they know about humans. They're basically like an alien from another planet who does not experience the things that regular humans do, but they are free to observe what humans do. And they know that humans have this thing called emotions and empathy and whatever that they have no idea what is, but they know that that can get humans to do this or do that at their will if they press the right button. Well, I was thinking, you know what, okay, fine. Come and tell me, because I didn't know what to think. So the creature comes over and tells me the story. And this was where I was relating to, they use emotionally charged subjects, taboo subjects, things that are very sensitive to the average non-cluster bead person. So I'm like, okay, what's the deal? Why did you tell me you didn't know the person when I later found out you obviously do? Go ahead. And what did it say? And this is totally repulsive. And keep in mind, I developed the seventh sense to be able to pick up on BS naturally because of my prior experience. And here's the kind of performance I heard. Well, I rarely tell this to people that I just met. But when I was a child, I was raped. I was sexually abused by my brother. So, I was working one day next to the person in question, and my back hurt. Well, this person in question said, I'm a massage therapist. Well, my back was hurting, so I said, oh, you're a massage therapist? Oh, I'd like to get my back massaged. And I was listening to this story thinking, And it was, so, well, I made arrangements to go to his apartment, and I went there, and I took my shirt off, and I sat down in his chair, and he did the massage. It was bad, by the way. And all of a sudden, he started talking to me. He was talking to me in a forceful manner, and it took me right back to my childhood abuse and rape and whatever. And I'm listening again thinking, you're going to fail this audition. But I didn't say anything because he was new. And I just listened to all this. And well, the reason I told you I didn't know him is because he tried to kiss me, and I grabbed my clothes and ran out the door. And thanks a lot, now that you brought this up, I have to relive this horror. And I'm thinking, you are retarded! As if I'm supposed to believe that him pretending not to know this creature who, again, was like a frail little feminine thing, and this person was like a big Arnold Schwarzenegger type guy. Think, you honestly expect me to believe that you were threatened by that? Wrong answer. I think if that person threatened you in any way, all you'd have to do is flick your whatever and it would be knocked over. And I was told, but you don't understand. If you've never been raped. My brain went back to child. I think this is retarded. But that is the kind of stuff these people will do, is they'll use those taboo subjects, those sensitive subjects, to excuse their lies or their bad behaviors. And like I'm listening thinking, okay, well, I understand this circumstance and that one, but that doesn't cancel out the need to be truthful in this one. But that is how they work. So hopefully, if you hear this kind of crap, you'll know what you're dealing with. It's really sick. So, in conclusion and in summary, with this particular experience, what you see is a non-human entity evidently trying to use elements of humanity to excuse away their bad behavior, or however you want to refer to it. But I just specifically remember, which I'm thinking now that I can reflect on it all, I think at this point I reached a higher level of awareness because I heard every word of the story, plus compared it to all the reality involved. And unlike a regular empathetic person with a regular empathetic person who might be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I was like, this is not a true story. And I was thinking, the brain, the automatic thought process in my head was like, this person is making this up. And this is what they're banking on, because they know that people who do have empathy or whatever, they don't want to see another person suffering. So if they turn around and try to excuse away their bad behavior by claiming they were a victim of suffering, they expect a free pass. They expect me to be like, oh, you were raped. Oh, I'm so sorry. I even brought it up. Oh, dear. And that's not going to happen. And I kind of felt like a dividing line in my brain of like, you know what? If somebody was raped and you're telling them they weren't, that's pretty cruel. But, on the other hand, this person's lied and lied and lied and used a fake rape as a cover. So I was kind of like following my intuition, which doesn't come naturally for most of you until you've dealt with the monster repeatedly. So at this point I was kind of like breaking out of a shell of awareness to think, I know BS when I hear it. But then again, because it's a newer person, you don't really want to say that's BS, because then you'll look horrible. But at the same time, there's like a scale in the brain saying, is it BS or is it not BS? And the BS was like way up here, so it was like, you know what? That is fake. You to back away because of their confession, even though it defies all kinds of logic. And we could go down the list of like, he tried to rape you and you told me you didn't know him. Well, that sounds like you're covering up for the rapist. Shouldn't you be warning the public that he's dangerous? But no, it's all phony. So that's the end of this one. Enjoy.
I just have to say that I think Facebook is retarded. I posted a simple image on someone's page. Sure, it was a scantily clad guy, but it wasn't nude, and they had the nerve to send me a message saying I posted nudity And because of this, now I'm banned from sending anything.
I just have to say that I think Facebook is retarded. I posted a simple image on someone's page. Sure, it was a scantily clad guy, but it wasn't nude, and they had the nerve to send me a message saying I posted nudity, and because of this, now I'm banned from sending anything for 24 hours or more. What kind of Nazi situation is this, you sick Facebook fuckfaces?